The first step that you need to take when preparing your brass to be reloaded is to add case lube so that the brass will be able to be resized more easily as you run it up through the die. That way you don't damage your brass or get the brass stuck in the dies. That's really not very enjoyable at all. So what I'm doing here is making sure that there's plenty of case lube all around the outside of the case and within the case mouth, but you don't want to get lube on the shoulder itself. You want to try to avoid that. What I found is the reason for that is if you do get case lube stuck between the shoulder within the die, it will cause dents and it'll ruin your brass. So that's what I'm doing right now, is making sure that each piece of brass is coated not terribly thick in case lube, but just enough to where it'll come in and out of that full-length sizing die pretty easily. I'm using the Lee pace setter 3-die set for the 6mm Creedmoor. I like this set because it comes with the factory crimp die, and I find that to be very consistent. So what we're going to do is we'll take our full-length sizing die and decapper, which you see here, and then we're going to insert that into the top of the press. The way that you find the correct position for the full-length sizing die is by running the ram up in the press and then making sure that your lock ring has enough space to where you can touch the very top of the shell holder with the very bottom of the sizing die. So that's what I'm doing here. Once you touch the top of the shell holder, you'll back the ram off and then give that die just about 1/8 of a turn more. That'll make it so that you can bump your shoulder down just a touch. It'll give it a little bit of that cam over effect. So then you take your piece of brass, you put it in the shell holder and run it through the die, and it will decap and size the full piece of brass in one shot. So there you have it. So I'll go ahead and let the video play just a little bit more so you can see that process of full-length sizing and decapping, but we'll just speed it up so you don't have to spend too much time paying too much attention to that. The next thing we do is we use the Lee primer pocket cleaning tool to clean out the primer pockets. It really doesn't take all that much, just a few turns back and forth to get that corroded gunpowder out of there and clean up that primer pocket. What I do in order to trim the brass is I use the Lee 6mm Creedmoor case length gauge, and then I use a drill and I put the adapter into the chuck of the drill and then tighten it down by hand, and then it really trims the brass pretty quick. It just takes a few turns of the drill. And what I like to do is chamfer the inside and the outside of the case mouth as I'm trimming the brass at the same time. I feel like it just makes it go a little bit more efficiently to save a little bit of time. But it seems to work pretty well. It trims it down pretty fast, and it seems to be pretty consistent with the Lee case length gauge.